Hello YouTube world, my name is Nicholas Montez and you're watching my YouTube channel, The Teenage Movie Critic. Welcome back to another YouTube channel, everybody. I'm so excited to have y'all back here again. Now in today's video, we're going to be doing something a bit exciting because today, I went to go see it. I went to go see Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, the first film in Phase 5, but the next MCU film that we've gotten since Black Panther: Wakanda Forever about 3 months ago. Just to kind of tell you something, I didn't watch this movie in the theaters. I wasn't able to this weekend, so I was actually watched it on a website, but it only got until like the last moment of the film, until besides the end credit scenes, which I already knew what they were. But before we get started reviewing this movie, I just want to talk about what were my thoughts going into the film and why was I excited for it. So, to start off, I just want to, part of the reason why I was excited for it going into it, you know, I liked the first two Ant-Man films. The first film, back in 2015, was just such a great, clever, cool heist movie. And then you get the second film, which was a nice break after Infinity War, and that's kind of when you realized all these movies just were kind of breaks after the big films. And, you know, even Ant-Man's appearances throughout all the MCU films, with him appearing in Civil War, becoming Giant Man, then he comes in Endgame, and he's kind of like the big part of that movie, where he's kind of the person that comes up with the idea of time travel and going back to get the Infinity Stones and saving everybody. And then you get to this film, and it's kind of setting up a whole lot, where you're introducing the full version of Kang the Conqueror, you're getting to see more of the quantum realm, and you're also bringing in all these cool actors here and there, and basically making it the big event that you need to watch. Because most people would watch the Ant-Man films because they're much more smaller scale, but this is a major film you gotta watch to get ready for the rest of the MCU. So that's kind of why I was excited for it. And you know, the trailers itself, I've liked them, but they haven't like impressed me with much of anything. Obviously, it looks pretty bad that Scott Lang looked like he was gonna die, even though we'll talk about that in just a little bit. But yeah, so that's kind of why I was excited for it. And also, the reviews I've heard the past week, some people have said it's been really good. It's the best film to start Phase 5. And then some people are like, this is just a bad film. It's one of the worst films that Marvel's ever made. Well, what is my take on it? Now let's talk about it now. So my review, I just want to start with the good on this one, and basically saying, I am one of those people. So if you want to ask me, what side are you on of? What fan base are you on for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania? Are you part of the person that thinks that this film does great for the MCU and that it's great to start in Phase 5? Or are you one of those people that just doesn't like it and Ant-Man should have just stayed small scale? I agree. It should have gone small. It should have gone definitely smaller scale. But I'm actually on the good side on this one, that I actually liked this movie, and I don't really understand the hate when it comes to this movie. So obviously I've seen the movie once, so let's just kind of talk about the good on this one. And basically it's kind of setting the foundation for what is to come for the future of the MCU. You know, these next couple years leading to 2025 is, well, actually 2026, is Avengers Secret Wars, the year I graduate high school. It's all building up to this big multiverse event film to where all of our Marvel heroes from Earth 616, the ones we've been spending all the way up till Iron Man, to Avengers Endgame, and even some new heroes and heroes from across the multiverse are coming together to fight the next big Thanos level villain, Kang the Conqueror. And if you think about it, this is the most important film of it, and I guess you could say that's a great part about the film. The two standouts here are really the two big standouts for this entire film is Kang the Conqueror and the world of the quantum realm. So let's talk about the Kang the Conqueror for a minute. So when they announced that he was going to be the villain of this film, I had no idea, just because I just don't know how you can make, like with Yellow Jacket it makes sense because, you know, he had that history with Hank Pym, that he was like this protege, he saw too much of himself, and he got the Yellow Jacket suit. Ghost is a little bit tricky because Bill Foster had some connections with Hank back in his S.H.I.E.L.D. days. And with Kang the Conqueror, you're just going into this big world and getting involved in stuff like that. What are you doing? Messing with a next level Thanos character. Like, what are you doing, Ant-Man? But then you realize, oh wait, Janet Van Dyne was in the quantum realm. And so if Kang was in the quantum realm, then it all makes sense of why it's connected with Ant-Man, because of Janet. But you also got to realize, okay, it all connects because Janet was in the quantum realm for 30 years, and Kang is there. Okay, so what's the story with this version of Kang? What is it? So basically, and everyone kept saying that the movie opened with a whole happy opening of the blip with Scott. Doesn't do that at all. It actually opens up with the scene of Janet, I guess, being in the quantum realm for the first time, and she's in her, like, you know, disguised clothes, but she's also in her Wasp suit, and she fights these monsters, and Kang shoots some of them, and he's like, what is this place? And I guess he's like a crashed scientist that deserted there. And so basically, as soon as they explore more of this story where Janet finally tells Hank and Hope what the whole story of Kang is, that he has this timeshare. Like, at first I didn't understand what this whole timeshare was. I thought it was like a throne, like similar to Thanos was, where it's like he sits on that throne that's similar to the comics. Like, I didn't understand what that was at all. But when you start to realize, like, this orb, this core that he has, this time core where he could travel everywhere in the universe, and he needs to put that in the chair so he can travel across the universe to get out of the quantum realm. And you realize that this is a next level Thanos threat, and he can come for many universes, and then he touches his mind. She touches his mind. You start to realize, oh. You start to realize, like, oh, she was trying to protect her. He was trying to protect him. He was trying to protect the universe. Like, oh my god, this makes a lot more sense. And so she shrinks the core and basically puts all these pin particles around it. And when and even throughout the film, you're like, how is Scott Lang? What exactly is Scott Lang helping Kang get in the film? Because I didn't understand what he was trying to get for him. At first, I was thinking it was gonna be Ravonna, but then I saw a video earlier saying, like, Ravonna love is Kang's weakness. So Ant-Man is helping Kang get his weakness? Like, that's kind of weird. But when you realize he has to get the core and you need pin particles to shrink down, but you're going through all these stuff, like, that makes a lot of sense. So I really like the way the Kang story was going on, and also whenever he just enters a room, music goes silent, he feels like an actual threat. And especially when he's like pinning Ant-Man and Cassie against the wall, just absolutely threatening. And then, so yeah, the Kang character was amazing. I loved what they did with him. He was great. Do I believe he's dead? Who knows? He is the Kang the Conqueror, so he has to come back in some shape or way or form. But then we get the world of the quantum realm, And I would say that this is definitely a world that is worth watching. A lot of people have called it the Star Wars of this movie. A lot of people have called this movie the Star Wars of the MCU. You can call it that, yeah. Um, Guardians of the Galaxy, Thor Ragnarok, who? Because that's kind of what people call Guardians of the Galaxy and Thor Ragnarok the Star Wars of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So I can see the comparisons, but like the whole world, like when they're flying on creatures, the water's more bluer than colorful. The creatures in it were very unique, especially with the character that was obsessed with holes. That was also played by the guy that played Kurt. Interesting fact. The whole mind reader guy, I thought that was funny. The lead warrior girl, I thought she was great. And just the whole world of it, like every time you would open a door, you would see something new and unique and different. And even then, all the way everything works, they have to drink this juice to communicate with people. It's like it's all fresh and unique and distinct, and it also felt like Star Wars at times too. So I was really impressed with the way they did the quantum realm and the creatures around it. And then of course, all the action, all of the Ant-Man action and stuff, and all the intensity stuff, most definitely awesome. I feel like I wish we could have gotten more of it, but it was definitely worth it. And then I think the final thing I'm going to cut off here on the bad, on the good of this one, is the way that they actually dealt with these characters dealing with the blip. Where you have Scott just, writing a book, basically liking the popularity that he saved the universe. And even then, you even get some stuff with Wasp, where I feel like that this is the proper version, where, because in Thor: Love and Thunder, we get to see Valkyrie as the new king of Asgard, and it's like, to me, it kind of bothered me in the way that was portrayed. This time, I feel like it's a little bit better done, though. Actually, you know what? Scratch that. I think both those stuff they did with Valkyrie and Wasp were kind of weird, but I think the way they actually made Wasp, like the foundation of Pym-Tech, was actually pretty cool, and they actually became like more lovers now, Ant-Man and Wasp. That was kind of cool. And so yeah, I thought that this film actually added some pretty cool stuff, and then of course, the end credit scenes with the Kang Dynasty and seeing more of the tease to Loki season 2 was also good. So now we're going to move on to the bad. So for me, the biggest issue I have with this film is that this does not feel like an Ant-Man film. When you compare all the other third movies in a trilogy like Spider-Man No Way Home, Captain America Civil War, Thor Ragnarok, Iron Man 3, all those films, they feel like the films of their franchises. And when you look at this film, it's just so different because the first two films were smaller scale, they were street level, but they still had that tease of the quantum realm in it. And it's like, and I think that also reduces in my problem of the first two films that made it great, that they had these characters going on journeys. Like, obviously they used Scott being a criminal and using his thieving skills to get something for Kang, but they didn't have any arc for the characters. None of the I feel like, now there's one character that did have an arc, which was the Hulk's character, who was played by the guy that played Kurt. But besides him, no one else had a specific character arc. They were just doing their job and then just trying to get home. And it's like they didn't have enough time to do any of that. And I was also disappointed with the way they did Cassie, which, like, I like, at first I was like, okay, that's kind of cool, but we don't get anything of it. Like, she's somehow knowing all of this stuff, and like, it makes sense as these people were gone for 5 years. It obviously makes sense that these people would, like, she would be able to learn all this stuff. But make a subatomic quantum thing in the basement, that's pretty clever. But at the same time, it's like, how does she know all this stuff? And she's trying to help people, And the fact that she said we, she meant Hank and Janet, not the Young Avengers. So I'm like, wait, so she's working with Hank and Janet to protect the world? Like, she's not working with all these other Young Avengers characters? Maybe they're not assembled yet. Who knows? And then I think the other problem I have with the film is just and also, one more comment. Why weren't Kang's minions cracking their helmets? Whenever they got hit, it just felt like you were just hitting, like, indestructible glass. Indestructible helmets. Like, are these characters not robots? Like, are they, like, stormtroopers? Because I remember in, like, the Star Wars movies, the stormtroopers' helmets would get crushed. They would get bruised. They would get damaged. These Kang's armies do not get injured. They get knocked out, but they don't get injured at all, and there's lots of explosions, but they don't get injured, and that's what really frustrated me with that. But then also, when it comes to the tone of the movie with the humor, the biggest character, obviously all the other scenes I thought were funny. There were some scenes that I didn't like the humor in, but the biggest character that did that weirdly was MODOK, aka Darren Cross, aka Yellow Jacket from the original Ant-Man. I think the way they brought him back in the film and made him MODOK, where he shrink down and, you know, he's just a head, and turn him into the mechanic, designed only for killing, something like that. I thought that was kind of unique, but the problem with it is that he would go from serious to making a joke. He would be like, I am the mechanized thing mechanized machine only for killing. And then he says, hi Hank. And then he's like, I am the mechanized killing. And he's like, what? Like how do you go from making a joke to wanting to kill these people like that? And then he's like, I'm not a dick. My name is Darren, and I am not a dick. And then he's like, at least I died fighting an Avenger. At least I died an Avenger. At first I didn't understand that, but I'm like, okay, I guess, because Kang is a Thanos level threat, and also an Avengers level threat. But that was not a good line to do that. It was like, and then he's like to Ant-Man, he was like, you're really always like a brother to me. Like, what? You barely know each other. Like, what? I understand you can make jokes. I understand these movies are goofy. But when you want to tell a good superhero movie, you can't do jokes like that. It's just not good for me. But that's pretty much all the bad on this one. Overall, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a great start of Phase 5. Great villain in Kang the Conqueror. Great introduction to the quantum realm. I'm hoping we can probably see it again. Oh, and also the Krylar character. More like a cameo, really, though. I like the twist that he wasn't a good guy. That he somehow changed when Janet left. So overall, that's pretty much my thoughts on this movie. Oh, I guess the last final thing I gotta say. There were some things that I wish we could have gotten, like maybe the tease of Fantastic Four. And maybe even the tease of the Young Avengers. But we'll get onto that when we get to the theories part. But overall, that's pretty much my review for the film. Before I give my final score, be sure to comment down below. What were your thoughts on Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania? Did you guys love it? Did you guys hate it? What are between? Let me know all your thoughts down below in the comment section below. With that, so let's get on my scores. Alright, so that's it for my scores. Now we're going to talk about the theories that I have going into this film. Alright, so when it gets to the theories on this one, the theory about the Fantastic Four coming in here, no, they're not. They're going to be introduced in their only film. Because, like, much like how everyone thought that Doctor Doom was going to be in Black Panther 2, yeah, that's not, it's the same case here. No, they're not in here. But I will say this, and also the setup for the Young Avengers, probably not, because they said that it was Hank and Janet that she was referring to, not the Young Avengers. So, but the thing is, like, we have the Young Avengers built up already. We got Billy and Tommy Maximoff. Elijah Bradley, Kid Loki, America Chavez, Kate Bishop, Miss Marvel, Riri Williams Ironheart, Scar, all these different characters. So, I don't know. It doesn't seem likely that she was referring to the Young Avengers, but who knows. Obviously, this film is an important one because it's going to lead into the next Avengers films. And I'm also excited for the Ant-Man 4 film. So I'm pretty sure that's when we're going to see our characters next. And then overall, there's not many theories I can really talk about with this movie. So yeah, that's all I can really say. Alright, so now now that Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania is out, let's talk about, do I think that this is a good start to Phase 5? Yes. I think it set up the foundation for this character, and maybe we'll see him again in Kang Dynasty. Do I think it's the greatest Ant-Man movie? No. Other films are better though, but now, let's talk about the next MCU film. So now that Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania is out of the way, it's time to talk about the next MCU film, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. And after the trailers that we've been getting the last couple weeks, from the one in December and then the one from last week, I can definitely confirm that I am so excited for this film. And after seeing Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, I can definitely say that I am excited for the next film. And even from the trailers themselves, it is so good. I cannot wait for it. I mean, from the humor to the action to the character designs to the CGI to the culmination of this being the final film in the Guardians franchise, this just looks like a hell of a good time. And even with the villain and probably killing Rocket and Drax, I am so excited to see what this movie has to offer, and hopefully it is good. Because this film was good, let's hope that this film is good. I cannot wait. So that's my ranking. So that's pretty much everything I gotta say. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. All my social media stuff is in the about section over there. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.